everybody, this is Heather up here at Tactical Response, and I know it's been a while since we did like a bug out range video, and this might not be exactly what you guys were thinking of when y'all wanted a bug out range video, but we had something exciting, not necessarily great, happen at the range. We had a goat napper on our hands. I say that, really, the lady was actually trying to be really helpful. So what happened was, the goats had, let me back up. Whenever we first got goats, and I was doing a bunch of research online about said goats, I remember reading something that I was like, there's no way. And it said, if it can't hold water, it can't hold a goat. And I found that to be so incredibly true. So now that I've said that, the goats were escaping at some point during the day, but then they were returning every night to the barn. So they were getting out, they were escaping their area, they would leave and go and frolic apparently and have a great and good old time. And then I would go out to the range to check on them, and there they would be. So all was well in my mind until one day we went to check on them and they weren't there. So we noticed that we didn't hear them. And so I was like, oh, that's weird. So anyway, Joey and them were out there first. They didn't hear the goats, which they thought was weird. They didn't go and actually try to get eyes on them. So they were like, oh, that's just kind of strange. But then we had a guy bush hogging out there for us, and he came in and was like, hey, your goats are gone. And I was like, excuse me? So I went out with some sweet feed, and I walked the property, and I was trying to get them to come. They didn't. And so I was like, okay, like they got out and something ate them, because, the goats, they knew where their home was, you know what I mean? And they liked people. They'd always come out and mess around and talk to people. So we realized, okay, they're gone. And I was like, they're dead. Of course they're dead. And everybody was like, no, they probably wandered off. And I was like, but they always come back, because they've wandered off before. They always come back. And they were like, well, somebody stole them. And I was like, there's no way. Well, it turns out that lady said that our goats were getting out, and they were just walking down the highway and just frolicking about. And she saw them one day and had apparently made a post about it and was like, hey, if these are your goats, they're out and about having a good time, you need to come get your goats. Well, that was on, I think, like a Monday or Tuesday, and I went and I saw the goats there. Like, I saw them with my own eyeballs the day after she made that post, and they were there. So they went back home. Well, then she saw them again the next day, again, frolicking about on the highway. So she decided she was going to pick them up because she was worried they were going to get hit by a car. So I messaged her, and when I realized my mom found the thread, and was like, hey, I think these are our goats. And so she had me send pictures so I could verify, so she could verify that those were in fact the goats, and I wasn't just another goat napper trying to take them. And sure enough, those were it. And we went and we picked them up. She was super nice. She was a great lady. She even was like, hey, they look like they should probably be dewormed soon. And I was like, yeah, I got it already at the house. And she's like, well, here, I'll help you. Let's just go ahead and deworm them together. And so we went ahead and we dewormed them and loaded them up and took them back. And of course I took them back and I was like, well, let's see, I'm going to try this instead. We went and they, of course, the next day I got a text message, hey, the goats are out. They're not where they should be. And so we went and kind of rigged something up. I have been worried. We've had a bunch of livestock dying in Tennessee. It's been about 100 degrees for what feels like a fucking month now. I mean, very well could be a month. I don't know. But it's been so hot and so humid. And I have people that I know personally that their goats have died from the heat. There's been chickens and other animals that have died from the heat. And so we were really worried about them. So I haven't really been leaving them out in the field because the field that they have doesn't have a lot of shade. So I've been trying to supply them with plenty of water. And I have them in the barn with the doors open to the barn, but we have these gates, and that lets a nice breeze come through, and they're in the shade. They have hay, and they have some water, and that's just for me to make sure that they're not overheating. And whenever we did that, there was a small space that I didn't think that the goats could get through, but they totally could get through it. So my mom and I went out there and we kind of rigged something up with some wire, some like fencing. And actually we found that fencing on the side of the road for free. So I went out with wire cutters and a bunch of fucking staples, and we closed those in and put the goats in. And now they have not been escaping since we've done that. So we'll see how good that holds. And it turns out Butch is just a little asshole. And he's very rapey right now. So we had to put him in his own personal stall. And he is not done too happy with that. And we had to kind of put the doors in a way that he couldn't bust up out of it. Because really and truly, Butch is the one that he's busting the doors and the gates and breaking them, and then the other goats are just following suit. And so it seems that now we have him in his own area contained, because I think he has got both of those female goats pregnant when they got out and went roaming. So we have him all by himself now, so that way he can't get to them unless we want him to get to him, and he's going to have his own little separate area from now on. But the goats are home. We are taking care of them in this heat. They are still alive and kicking. Thankfully, it actually today, Shelton and them were out on the range, and they said that it actually felt pretty good in the barn when they went to check on them and make sure they had water and stuff. So they're doing good. So there's your little update. It was kind of an exciting weekend, getting our goats back from the goat nappers. And always remember that your responsibility to be ready for the fight never ends.